Hi, I'm Jordan, and welcome to Jordan's Soapbox, the show that talks about anything that I want to talk about. Furries. In case you haven't noticed by the extreme number of anthropomorphic animals on my various shows, I am unfortunately one of them. However, I've never attended a furry convention until now. That's because work and later COVID-19 unfortunately prevented me from doing so. But since the first one allowed me a weekend off and the latter did not stop the convention being held, I attended Megaplex at the Caribbean Royal Hotel in Orlando, Florida. So, how was the very first furry convention I ever attended? Well, sit back, relax, and enjoy this fur-tastic episode of Jordan's Soapbox. Ugh, that was an awful joke, even for me. Glory to the furry mass. So, let's start off with the pre-convention stuff, specifically the whole buying ticket thing, because that wasn't really the best experience I had. See, I only wanted to attend for one day to explore the dealer's den and artist alley. I've never been usually one to attend panels and things like that, they're just not my thing. Furthermore, with COVID-19 basically, really being a thing here in Florida, I didn't think it was the best idea to attend those sorts of things, even if the convention required face coverings throughout the entire thing, sans some limited exceptions. Oh, and if you can, please get vaccinated, because this is just completely preventable. Anyway, I wanted to be there to take in some of the sights and buy some cool things. But at the time, Megaplex was only doing tickets that were pre-registered online, fair enough. But the tickets available didn't include Signal Day tickets, instead only having tickets for the entire weekend. This was due to safety reasons, which I totally understand, but frustratingly, Megaplex would later announce the ability to sell a limited number of tickets, including Signal Day ones, available at the convention itself. I was a bit frustrated this admittedly. I feel like Signal Day tickets, even if it was limited, should have been made available at pre-registration online. It wasn't all bad or anything, as my ticket did come with some things. Identification card with my name and persona on it, a poster, which was cruise themed since that was the main theme of the event, a mask, they were required for this convention, and lastly, a small stuffed animal version of the main mascot at the convention, which in no way is demon-possessed. Sorry, anyway. When I did arrive at the convention, I was immediately taken back by the hotel it was in. The Caribbean Royal Hotel was enormous and beautiful, and honestly, I wish I took more photos of the hotel. One of the more interesting aspects about it was the skyline in the main lobby and the arcade, which had a ton of Sega titles that I was familiar with, such as the Sega UFO Catcher. Since I went in the front entrance of the hotel though, I was lost and needed to ask the front desk for directions, and it looked like I had quite a walk to it. One elevator ride and circling around the beautiful swimming area later, I finally arrived at the convention center. It was quite a weird moment for me walking in for the first time, with lots of folks in fursuits and squeaking noises. Yeah, for anyone who attended this convention in the audience, what the heck was with all the squeaking? I don't know where it came from, it just was there. But as I was saying, it was a surreal and at times overwhelming experience for me. And this was continued after registration and when I entered the dealer's den. Lots of different vendors were there, so many in fact, I actually walked around a lot so I could become somewhat oriented with my surroundings and take it all in. I didn't know where to start, so I ended up at a booth with an artist named Flitterfell, and one of the things that immediately stood out to me about her booth was the bags on top of it. These were adoptable characters that came with a little reference, a plush item related to the character, and some other small trinkets and such. I had always wanted an adoptable, and I honestly love the concept of them. And they had a lot of different options available to such a degree I actually had to come back to her booth several times and just finally decide what I want. I ended up choosing the bear, as I adore bears, and I mean, look at me, of course I would do that. She was super sweet and patient with me, and I really appreciate it, and I encourage all y'all to check them out. Links shall be in the description of the video, along with some of the other artists I mentioned. Also, I haven't worked out everything, but the adoptable's name shall be henceforth known as Jam. And here he is. Some of the other artists of note were Mad Shy, who had these adorable nerd badges based on animals and things like that. I, of course, wanted the bear one because if it wasn't already established, I love bears a lot. I like them a lot. And that does lead to a somewhat humorous story, as there was this vendor called Furry Flags, and after looking through the selection of flags they had, I selected a bear-themed flag. I didn't think much of it at the time, thought it was a bear flag, but then after hanging it up and showing one of my friends, turned out that the flag was actually a reference to the International Bear Brotherhood flag, which is an LGBT community that, according to Wikipedia, focuses on, let me see here. There we go. Secondary sex characteristics such as growth of body hair and facial hair, which is typically considered a bear trait. I obviously don't identify with that, and I'm honestly offended at the appropriation of bears, of which I am one. Yeah, we were here long before you stupid humans showed up, so this is our flag, not yours. Long live bearkind, may they reign over humanity forevermore. Anyway, it was nobody's fault at all. I was simply unaware of what it meant. As of the making of this video, I'm in contact with the seller, but overall, it was just a hilarious turn of events. I spent a couple hours at the convention, and by the end of it all, I ended up getting quite a bit of stuff, ranging from shirts, a wallet, and much more. I spent most of the time in the dealer's den, as the artist alley was mostly barren, and I'm not sure why that was. Regardless, while my time was limited and my interactions as well, I had an absolute blast. I only mentioned just a couple of the artists that I encountered here, so if you were one of them at this convention, you probably saw me, and I really thank you for making my first convention a really memorable one. I hope to be back for next year because that's an 80s theme, and I actually may try my hand at fursuiting. Yeah, I ended up seeing so many fursuits at the convention that I'm like, I want to try that, so stay tuned for that, I guess. But for now, I must bid a bon voyage to Megaplex, and also a bon voyage for this episode of Jordan's Soapbox. If you must excuse me, I have to deal with this demonic plush on my desk.